We will be seeing the JBPM 6 Drools first session today. Since you're all new, I assume that you're all new to this JBPM 6. So I'll walk you through some of the basics of what business process management is, and then where JBPM 6 fits into the whole enterprise integration architecture. And then we will see more details about what this technology is all about, what is the capability feature, and all those kind of things. We would also have a sneak peek into the API, uh, behind the scenes API, which is helping this JBPM6 do all the tasks that it does, and API is the one which allows external applications to be integrated with this particular business process management. So we'll jump into it. The agenda for today's thing will be going to the overview of the business process management, the Drools overview. I'll take you through some of the components, and then I'll show you where the downloads are available, what are the prerequisites to get the software installed and get started working on this particular suite, and then a quick tour of the workbench. I'll take you through the one particular functionality's workflow and example that's out of the box available as part of the downloads. I'll take you through that example. I'll walk you through it, and I'll also show a demo of the same example, a live example. We'll see it on practically working as well. And we'll also have a look at the knowledge API, that's the Java API that's available to us, and some sample codes as well I'll show you. And this demo includes the same tool that we saw through the PPT. We will also see it through practical terms. I'll show the workbench, I'll execute the process, I'll create the workflows, and then we'll be going through it. And that's an out-of-the-box example. So what is BPM? Business process management is not a new term. It has been there for a long time. What it really, before we jump into JBPM, I'll start with what BPM itself is. So in any organization or in any task that we do, everything is a process. It's all a step-by-step activity. So in an organization, especially when we have lots of processes, lots of departments, lots of people involved, lots of applications involved, then we need to streamline everything and have a control over it. So if processes are not defined, then we will not be able to actually achieve the goals efficiently. We will still be able to do it, but will not be able to achieve the goals efficiently. So to achieve any particular goal, we need to define the process before we actually do the task itself. So what happens is, when we have the processes defined, it's very difficult to manage it manually. If there is a 10-step process, then it is very difficult to manage at any particular stage for a particular instance, where that instance is residing, it's pending with whom, how is the process progressing. At any point in time, we will not be able to collect all the details, not track it. So it will all be a mess if we don't have control over it digitally. So we need to have the processes automated, and they need to be running in a computer platform. And then, since BPM is an enterprise, so that's where this BPM comes in. These business process management tools help us in managing the whole life cycle of a process. Right from the stage where we design the process till the stage of execution and completion of the process. Business process management gives all the tools, all the APIs, all the features that are available, so that the whole life cycle is managed properly, and it is tracked end to end. So that's where BPM comes in, to manage our organization processes very efficiently, and it's all automated. There is no manual task involved when we have this business process management in our organization suite of tools. So what exactly is JBPM? JBPM is an open source BPM suite. When I say BPM suite, there are two components that are residing in it. Those are business process management, and the next one is a business rules management. It's a rules. So what is the business process management? Is the one which I was talking about till now. So that particular component is there as part of the BPM suite. The other component that is there is the business rules management. The rules management is in an application, in any application in general, a Java application, let's say, in general, all the applications do have business logic embedded in it, but the business logic is going to be coded and it's going to be present inside the application's code. What happens is in due time, when the application changes along with the requirements over the years, the application's business logic gets mixed up within the code, and it gets scattered around through all parts of the code, and we will not be able to determine or change the rules very easily, the logic very easily. You need to understand the code to do any changes to it. And the other problem is the business analyst won't be able to figure out what are the rules configured in the system unless he or she gets some help from the developer. So it was very much developer centric to code the application to have the business logic embedded into the application. So what this rules engine does is it is able to extract all the rules out of the application, that is externalize the rules and localize it into a separate area, in a separate space in the rules, and this particular rules which we have externalized from the application will be executed in a rule engine. The rule engine is again a Java engine which is able to execute all the rules that we have externalized from the application. So the application will be integrated with the rules engine, and whenever a logic needs to be run, we will be firing a few rules, and those rules will get executed in the rule engine, and the output will be sent back to the application. So this way, what do we achieve? Business analysts will be able to see what rules are configured in the system, because the rules are all going to be declarative or in an Excel spreadsheet. So the business analyst will be able to understand the rules more easily, be able to change the rules as well, and we are just bringing the users and the business analysts, the developers, we are bringing the business users, business analysts, and the developer community somewhat closer. So that's what this JBPM 6 new version of JBPM achieves. So we saw what are the business process management and what is Drools as well. JBPM itself is an integrated platform for business process and decision management. So it's basically a platform which has business process and the rules management. So it can execute a whole business process, and there will be some rules embedded into the business process. So it has become a base platform for that. And I've shown the high level diagram of this BPM engine. So this is how it looks at a very high level at a 30,000 feet. This is how a business process management suite looks. So the two main engines here, the rule engine and the process engine. These are the two main engines that are available to us. The rule engine is the rules engine, the process engine is the process management, the JBPM itself. And both of them are going to use the knowledge repository. So herein, these both engines, to execute it, we need the business processes to be modeled and created, and we need the rules to be modeled and created, and this is a data model which is specific for the application. What these rules and business process will be acting upon is the data model. So all these are becoming the knowledge artifacts, and these will be available in a repository for this both rules engine and process engine. So this becomes a knowledge repository. So whatever artifacts we create, like the business process, that the diagram that we draw and the rules that we write and the Java model, the Pojo classes that we create, everything becomes part of this knowledge repository, and rule engine and process engine have access to the same knowledge repository, and they work on the data that comes into the process or to the rule based upon these knowledge artifacts. Okay, and then both of them use the same storage as well. So it's this storage we will see what it helps us, but there is definitely a DB storage at the back end to store some of the runtime data, to store some of the history data, to store some of the process system specific data. So all that. source of data is stored in the database. So this is at a very high level. We will see more detailed picture as we go along in the next few slides. So we saw so many things now till now, the overview. We want to have the definition of the business process, right? So what's a business process? So it's a series of activities or steps that are performed by business users or applications to achieve a specific business goal or objective. This is the best I could come up with. So it's basically a series of steps that will be executed by business users, or it can be also executed by some systems, applications, automated ones. For what are they executing? To achieve a specific business goal or objective. There is a business process. Why do we need a business process? That is because we need something to be achieved, something to be done, something to be completed. So we need a business process. So this is the definition for generally a process. When we put business there, then it becomes specific. The goal becomes specific to some particular business. And we'll see what is JBPM now. JBPM stands for JBoss Business Process Management. So some of the features of JBPM are it's lightweight. Lightweight in the sense it can be embedded into any Java application. That's what it means. It can be embedded into a Tomcat container. It can be deployed in a JBoss application server. It can be embedded as part of an enterprise service bus. It can be embedded into a normal desktop Java application. Wherever Java can execute, in all those places, we will be able to integrate JBPM. So it can be executed standalone, it can be put in a server, it can be integrated in a service-based environment, SOA environment. So in all these places, JBPM can integrate very seamlessly, very smoothly, and that's why it's very lightweight. And it's open source. The whole source code is available for us through the GPL license, and we will be able to look into it and make changes to it. We can do anything with it. So the source code is given to us, open source, and it's fully written in Java. Nothing else used, it's fully written in Java. And then it's all standards based. JBPM is fully standards based. It uses the BPMN 2.0 specification. BPMN 2.0 is nothing but the business process modeling notation. So using this is an XML standard actually. Using this standard, we will be able to create the actual business processes. The diagram you see, right? This is created using BPMN 2.0. This is the language that is used to draw this diagram. At last, this diagram gets saved as a XML document. On the UI, we are able to see this, but if you see at the back end what happens to this diagram, it is saved as an XML. And that XML standard is defined by BPMN 2.0. So we can consider BPMN 2.0 as a XML standard, a language that is used to draw executable business processes. So JBPM implements this BPMN 2.0, and it is a industry-wide standard. Most of the leading BPM vendors are using this BPMN or implementing this BPMN 2.0. The other things are it has provided us the UI is fully developed. All the features are already implemented out of the box, and the UI is provided for us to work with in all the stages of the process lifecycle. We will be able to use the UI right from the modeling stage to the execution stage to monitoring stage. In all the places, we have different sets of UIs that have been developed and provided to us. And what happens is the business analysts that you're benefiting using because of this UI, they will be able to involve in every stage of the process lifecycle. Right from the design stage, they will be able to, if the business is somewhat slightly technical, then he or she would be able to draw this sort of a diagram, or at least understand, looking at this diagram, what this process actually does, and will be able to look into details of the properties of these steps and do some changes to it, or in case of rules, will be able to provide his or her inputs to it. So UI tooling is available, and it can run in any Java environment. We saw that either embedded within an application, or we can expose this the whole functionality of JBPM as a web service as well. Even that is available out of the box. The whole functionality is exposed as a RESTful web services. We can also expose another SOAP web service that's also there. You can do that, and it manages the entire life cycle of a process. So the life cycle of the process is given here. This is the entire life cycle of a process. It starts with this particular green color, discover or analyze. So any process, before we model it, we need to identify what is the problem that we are solving and what is the process. So we need to analyze, we need to discover and analyze the actual process that is going to be modeled. So that's our first stage. Next stage is to actually model the process itself, that is draw such a diagram, design the process for the particular problem that we are solving. So next step is to draw the diagram. It provides toolings to do this particular step, and once we have modeled the process, we need to now execute it. So before we execute it, we need to build and deploy the process. And now once we build, there are tools available for building and deploying the business process as well. Once we did that, next step is to execute the business process. We will be able to execute the business process within this BPM, and by executing the business process, we would be, if we are having workflows, then those workflows or the whole that task, each one is a task, each box here is a task. So we will be able to monitor the task, where at any particular stage we will be able to see at which stage the particular process is deciding, and then finally we will be able to monitor it using some dashboards. We have history logs to look at. All that sort of things are captured by this BPM itself. So this is the whole process life cycle, and BPM provides tools and API to manage the whole life cycle of this process. The whole right from modeling stage to the execution stage to the monitoring stage, it provides us all the tools that we need, and it provides API as well, as exposed as a RESTful web service. So external applications could be integrated, and then this is one of the other thing is it integrates with the Drools rule engine very seamlessly. This is one very big advantage with this particular engine, because this is the only place where we get the rules engine and the business process management engine, both of them embedded into the same core engine. So this core engine that we have displayed here, this is nothing but the whole BPM suite. This will contain the two engines, the process engine and the Drools engine. So when it is integrated into a single core engine, it becomes very smooth integration. There is no need to integrate or talk to an external application to execute a particular rule. It will all be within the same server, same engine, same JVM. So it will be very easy to interact and integrate and execute the rules as part of the business process. So the integration is very seamless. And as I said before, JBPM is all about standards. So it also supports JPA and JTA for persistence in transactions, and human task service, that's another standard. The standard that is used there is WS-HT. That's a standard that is used to develop the human task service, and that is performed by human actors. Those are the workflows. Wherever in a process, in whichever stage of a process, when we need human interaction, human input, a manual intervention, then that would become a workflow. It would be assigned as a task to a group of people, a particular role which is assigned, or to a particular person identified by some ID within the organization. At that time, the process is going to wait until the human actor finishes his job there. So this whole life cycle, workflow life cycle management is also managed by JBP. So that thing is all implemented using the WS-HT standard. And it comes fully integrated with Eclipse, our favorite ID, Java developers' favorite ID. There are plugins available which makes Eclipse, we can draw the diagrams, we can execute, we can have validate the diagrams, all sorts of things using the Eclipse ID. And we have got the graphical UI to design the process using drag and drop. We'll be able to drag and drop each thing as an icon and then connect it and then draw this diagram very easily. So that tooling support is also given. So these are the features. Pretty much we have covered what JBPM can do.